In the Amazon, life is measured in seconds. Will the brute strength of giants or the ruthless intelligence of the pack truly dominate this blood-soaked green lung? Who will be the next victim of these inescapable mazes? The Amazon rainforest, home to the most ferocious predators. The Amazon is a 7 million square kilometer green labyrinth. Humidity reaches saturation, turning the air into a thick, sticky film, reeking of damp earth and decaying leaves. Here, the laws of physics seem to bend to make way for the most sophisticated predatory instincts. Beneath the murky rivers and within the dense canopy, a biological arms race has been underway for millions of years, creating unrivaled killing machines. In the animal world, big cats usually fear water. But in the Amazon, the jaguar is a great paradox. It is not only the king of the land, but also the terror of the riverbed. A 120 kilograms male jaguar, its muscles bulging beneath its brightly patterned skin, stalks the murky water's edge. Its target? A giant caiman crocodile basking in the mud. There was no roar. The jaguar moved like a ghost, its body silently and terrifyingly sinking into the water. A jaguar leap didn't attack the throat like a lion. It aimed directly at the skull. With the strongest bite of any cat, the jaguar pierced the caiman's tough armor with its steel fangs. The entire pool of water exploded in the struggle between the two giants. The crocodile tried to drag its opponent down into the abyss, but the jaguar used its extraordinary shoulder strength to pull its equally heavy prey back up the steep bank. Why can the jaguar crush a crocodile's skull or a turtle's shell so easily? Its short but extremely thick jawbone structure creates incredible leverage. While other feline species aim to suffocate their prey, the jaguar chooses to destroy the central nervous system. This is the perfect evolution to deal with the Amazon's toughest armored prey. The jaguar has once again proven why it is known as the invincible phantom of the Amazon rivers. As the remnants of the hunt dried on the sandy banks, the Amazon River began to ripple with another tremor. Leaving the raging currents, we ventured deep into the tranquil wetlands, where intertwined mangroves formed an inescapable labyrinth. Beneath the dense water hyacinth, a nearly 9-meter-long phantom waited patiently. It weighed over 200 kilograms, possessing the strength of thousands of interwoven muscle fibers. It was the green anaconda, the god of darkness of the Amazon. At the bend of the river where the Amazon's water lazily stopped, the ground transformed into a thick, muddy swamp covered in water hyacinth. This is the territory of the capybara family, the largest rodents on the planet. With their somewhat slow and docile appearance, they look like easy targets. But don't be fooled. Capybaras possess incredibly keen hearing and smell, capable of detecting a leopard from hundreds of meters away. However, the maze they are about to enter is not on the ground, and it makes no sound. A mature male capybara, weighing over 60 kilograms, is slowly leading the pack down to the mudflats to enjoy the succulent sprouts. It stops, pricks up its ears, and scans the bushes. There is no leopard in sight, no rustling of an eagle. It steps 1 foot into the water. Then both. Right in the deep mud pit, just a few inches from its nose, a massive 8-meter-long mass of muscle has been lying motionless for 10 hours, holding its breath completely. The green anaconda is not just a python, it's a biological landmine, perfectly concealed beneath the Amazonian soil. As the capybara lowered its head to drink, the mud in front of it erupted like a volcano. The anaconda didn't lunge. It shot out with the speed of a steel spring. The real battle began beneath the murky red water. The capybara frantically thrashed about, using the strength of its muscular legs. But the anaconda performed its constriction matrix. The battle ended in the eerie silence of the jungle. The anaconda slowly loosened its grip, beginning to use its digestive juices to soften the prey, in preparation for the classic swallowing spree. Many wonder how the anaconda can swallow an animal 3 times its head without choking. The secret lies in its free jaw. Its two lower jaw bones aren't fused together, but connected by extremely elastic ligaments, allowing it to walk over the prey's body, guiding chunks of flesh into its esophagus. Meanwhile, the anaconda's stomach secretes a potent acid capable of melting even the bones and horns of a capybara in just a few days. This is the ultimate energy optimization, one hunt for a month of rest. As the jungle's darkness begins to descend upon the blood-soaked mud pit, the giant predators begin to retreat, giving way to smaller but more ferocious forces. Look down at those bubbling streams, where a jagged matrix of teeth is arrayed, awaiting its next victim. Above the murky water, the acacia branches leaning over the stream provide shelter for a family of egrets. The young egret, with its still wet downy feathers and weak wings, is precariously learning to stand on the edge of its nest. This is its first lesson in balance. But in the Amazon, a small mistake in this exercise is a death sentence. The wind suddenly howled, and a fateful slip sent the tiny creature plummeting into the swirling water below. The young heron fell with a faint plop. It frantically flapped its wings, trying to regain its balance on the water's surface, but that vibration was the signal of death. Not far away, beneath the dark brown water, hundreds of glowing red eyes suddenly shifted direction. Red-bellied piranhas, the Amazonian pygmy devils, don't hunt with sight. They hunt with vibration and smell. Don't look at them as isolated creatures. Imagine a coordinated system of blades. The secret lies in the structure of their interlocking teeth. Unlike human teeth with gaps, piranhas have flattened triangular teeth with razor-sharp edges, arranged so that when the jaws close, the upper and lower teeth fit together like a steel zipper. This allows them to perform a severing bite instead of a tearing bite. Interestingly, although we often see them appearing in hundreds, even thousands of individuals covering the water's surface, the truth behind those red scales is a completely different nature. Piranhas are actually solitary killers. Their large gatherings aren't for hunting together, but rather a defensive tactic to protect themselves from larger enemies such as river dolphins or even jaguars. In just 3 seconds, tiny bubbles began to rise on the water around the piranha. A matrix of serrated teeth had surrounded the target. There was no feinting, no mercy. The first piranha lunged, tearing through the soft, downy feathers with its razor-sharp, triangular teeth. Immediately, the smell of fresh blood triggered a collective frenzy. The water seemed to boil. The poor baby bird only managed to let out a heart-wrenching cry before being devoured by dozens of mouths simultaneously. In less than 2 minutes, the water became eerily still. Not a single feather remained. The river had swallowed everything, leaving only faint red ripples that faded with the current. The piranha swarm proved that in the Amazon, numbers are the ultimate weapon. Just as the remnants of the previous hunt had settled, the Amazonian waters were suddenly torn apart by a series of deafening, rapid sounds like alarm sirens. It wasn't the roar of a leopard, nor the silence of a python. It was the marching of a family of giant otters. Reaching up to 2 meters in length and with bodies as long and slender as muscular arrowheads, they didn't appear to hide. They appeared to establish a new order through collective ferocity. Why is a seemingly friendly animal considered one of the most ferocious predators in the Amazon? Giant otters and piranhas are two completely opposite extremes in how collective power is exercised. Giant otters never hunt alone. They are disciplined warriors, a closely knit family with clever encirclement tactics and support for their teammates. Every move of a member is part of the pack's calculated plan to subdue giants like crocodiles or anacondas. For otters, the pack is a strategic force. This time, the otter pack's target was a mature caiman crocodile. Basking in the mud. In the natural world, crocodiles are apex predators, but today, it inadvertently became prey in a meticulously planned encirclement. Without hesitation, the otter split into 3 groups. One group charged directly to distract it, while others dived deep into the mud, attacking its vital weak point, the crocodile's tail and hind limbs. Emotions erupted in chaos. The Cayman crocodile thrashed wildly, trying to use the strength of its tail to shake off its enemy, but the otters were too fast. They coordinated like a precise mechanical machine. As one withdrew, another lunged in to bite and tear. The roars of crocodiles mingled with the ferocious, excited cries of the otterback. After 10 minutes of bloody struggle, only faint red streaks remained on the water's surface. The otter family gathered, their triumphant cries echoing throughout the jungle. A powerful testament. In the Amazon, collective intelligence and pack ferocity can overthrow any lone predator. In the Amazon, survival is not a privilege. It is a reward for the best adapters. Here, the line between hunter and prey is as thin as a fallen leaf. An elite army can crumble before a lone phantom. The Amazon is not cruel. It simply operates according to an absolute law of fairness. Mistake means death. The Amazon survival matrix holds even more terrifying secrets. Subscribe now to not miss the next hunt.
The African savanna, where the sun not only warms but also burns, where every blade of grass bears the footprints of the hunter. This is the wild stage of the uncompromising confrontation between life and death. And it is also where the cheetah, the hunter, survives with speed, silence, and fights alone against the world. African savanna, cheetah, and the battle for life and death. We often refer to the lion as the king of the savanna. But not everyone born in the middle of a sunburnt field has the privilege of roaring. Some are born to survive quietly. Others must learn to survive from their first breath. Under the dry, sunburned grass, amidst the watchful gazes of vultures and hyenas, the tiny life still stubbornly takes root. No noise, no show. Only steady breathing, wary eyes, and the survival instinct permeating every hair. That was the beginning of Kaya, a small soul in the harsh land. In a corner of the scorching grassland, there lived a small cheetah family, quiet, lonely, but resilient. Before becoming a lone warrior in the vast grassland, Kaya was a baby, the smallest of 4 siblings, hiding under the thick bushes where her mother chose to make her nest. Kaya's body was small, only the size of a house cat. Her fur was as shaggy as wild grass, dotted with unclear black streaks. On her back, a long strip of fur stuck out like a fake mane, the perfect camouflage that helped her blend into the dry grass, fooling even the fiercest predators. Kaya's childhood was filled with cautious steps, hasty licks, and her mother's ever-watchful eyes. Kaya learned to be quiet at an early age, to be quiet when the gibbons howled, when the lion's shadows stretched across the grass, and even when her mother was so hungry that she could not leave her cubs to hunt. One morning, as the sun was just breaking through the thin mist, Kaya, small and bewildered, poked her head out from the bushes. Everything outside was strange and fascinating to her. A tall ostrich walked slowly in the distance. Then a herd of zebras thundered across the savanna, their hooves crunching on the dry ground. Kaya watched, her tiny legs immediately running after her, her short legs tangled in the grass, but her heart filled with excitement. She ran a little further, then a little further, until a low, sharp, short roar rang out behind her. The mother cheetah, her eyes both angry and frightened, appeared in a matter of seconds. Without hesitation, she gently bit Kaya's neck, carrying her back like a small prey that had just lost its herd. Kaya was bewildered and didn't understand what was happening. But Mother didn't say anything. She just silently put Kaya back between her brothers and sisters and turned her head to look far away, where the grass was shaking with something unnamed. There, danger was always lurking. Kaya often followed her brothers, her short legs covered with soft fur, struggling with each jump. She tried to catch up with the fake chases, as if it was the first prey in her life. Although weaker and smaller, Kaya had bright eyes, the eyes of someone born to run, to overcome dangers with speed and instinct. Every day there would always be a peaceful moment when the whole flock curled up around their mother, nestled close to her large body that was radiating gentle warmth through her short, velvety fur. It was a thin but sturdy shield, the only thing that separated them from the predatory eyes that were silently lurking in the darkness. Kaya's small ears always twitched slightly whenever there was a strange noise, a broken branch, a gust of wind, but her mother was always the first to react. And with sharp instincts she immediately jumped up, her strong body shielding the entire flock of trembling cubs behind her. Kaya did not understand all the dangers that surrounded her, but she knew one thing: this world was vast and cruel, but here, next to her mother, she was safe. And that, for a small leopard cub, was everything. Then the innocent days gradually faded away, giving way to increasingly steady steps. Kaya's brothers grew taller, their bodies more solid, their eyes sharper, and their teasing now took on the appearance of real training. Instinct urged them to step out of their mother's protective arms, not to separate, but to begin their journey as a real hunting group. After their mother left, the male leopards remained together. They became an alliance, a small coalition often made up of siblings, working together to hunt, protect each other, and assert their position in the harsh land. They bonded like a silent army, stronger, more confident when they walked together. That was the path of the male leopard, a collective journey built from blood and survival instinct. The sunlight slanted through the thin layer of dust, casting mottled streaks of light on the ground. In the middle of the dry grassland, Kaya's three brothers approached step by step, lowering themselves to the ground like three silent golden shadows, aiming at a zebra. The perfect prey for a fast hunt. They didn't need any orders. Each male cheetah knew his place, instincts trained since he followed his mother to hunt. Unlike other predators who rely on collective strength, cheetahs rely on perfect coordination and unparalleled speed. Suddenly, all three charged at the same time. The cheetah, the fastest runner on the planet, can reach speeds of up to 100 km/h in just a few seconds. One turn, one fall. The prey was locked. No chance of escape. The male cheetah, fast, precise, coordinated as if born to do so. They didn't need the strength of the pack, just speed and tactics. As for Kaya, as the only female in the herd, her path was different. It did not go with its brothers. In its mother's eyes, Kaya saw a gentle peace of mind mixed with a hint of anxiety that was hard to hide. The farewell did not take place with tears, but with the familiar silence of the leopard. No one said anything. Only one day, its mother stood up after her afternoon nap, walked away and never looked back. It was a strange moment, not exactly sad nor completely empty. Because deep down, Kaya knew it would come. Its mother had taught it long enough, well enough. Now it was time for it to step into life on its own. From that moment on, Kaya officially embarked on a lonely journey, like every other female leopard in its species' life cycle. There was no one to go first, no mother's shadow protecting it from behind, no more nights snuggling up against its mother's back to sleep. Kaya began to learn how to live alone, hunt alone, protect herself. And even though she still sometimes remembered the familiar footsteps in the grass, she knew this was the time for her to grow up. On the first day of hunting alone, Kaya was so hungry that his stomach churned. The wind carried the pungent scent of antelopes in the distance, a herd of impalas grazing leisurely in the afternoon sun. Kaya lowered himself, quietly approaching. With no mother to support him, no brothers to surround him, everything now rested on his 4 skinny legs. A stumble shook the grass. The impalas were startled. Kaya immediately charged. The first steps were determined, but still clumsy. Speed was there, but not enough to kill. He chased until he was exhausted, then out of breath, then stopped in the middle of the bare grass. The prey escaped. The hunger was still there. Bitterness rose in his throat. Kaya lay flat on his back, breathing heavily, his eyes looking far away. No one blamed him. No one comforted him. But somewhere his instinct urged him to stand up. And he did. Failure is just a necessary part of the survival lesson. Kaya did not win today, but he learned something important. To survive, he had to become sharper, faster, more patient. Because no one lives for a female leopard to grow up. And no one stops to wait for him to catch up. In the following days, Kaya became quieter. He no longer rushed forward when he saw prey. Instead, he learned to be patient, lying in wait for hours in the shade, observing every step, every smallest movement of the antelope herd. He practiced walking against the wind, learned to recognize which cubs were lost, which were easily separated from the herd. His jumps gradually became more decisive, more powerful. And then one morning, when the dew was still on the grass, Kaya saw his first opportunity. A lost young impala. No sound, no extra breath. Kaya dashed like a streak of lightning. The chase lasted only a few seconds, but this time, unlike before, Kaya did not miss. She brought down her prey with a precise pounce. She did it. For the first time, Kaya fed herself. From that moment on, she was no longer a cub. She was a real hunter, just like her mother had been. The first rains of the season began to fall on the steppe, washing away the dry dust of the hot months. The grass grew green, the puddles filled up, and the antelopes became more abundant. Nature seemed to be revived. And at that moment, the reproductive instinct rose strongly in every creature. Mating season began. Kaya, now a mature female with a slender but muscular body, marked her territory with light scent trails along the path. It was the silent language of the leopards, a message to the males who roamed the vicinity. And then he appeared. A full-grown male, larger than Kaya, with calves as hard as bowstrings, his golden eyes sharp but not fierce. He followed Kaya's scent, silently like a ghost in the grass. There was no chase, no clash. Just two solitary creatures finding each other in a moment of instinct, leading the way. They did not cling together like other species. Mating in leopards is a brief, tense, even violent union. But in those instinctive moments, Kaya sensed something deeper, a continuity. Because if things were as nature had planned, this very encounter would sow the seeds of the next generation. After the brief mating, the male left, as all males of his species do. Kaya was alone again. But now, inside her, there was another life growing every day. Her maternal instincts began to rise with every step, every breath. Kaya became more cautious, hunting regularly but not recklessly. She avoided areas with many lions, avoiding places that were too empty or noisy. Every day, Kaya wandered looking for the perfect hiding place, thick bushes, deep crevices, high dry mounds, any place that could make a safe nest for her unborn cubs. She became quiet, to the point of being invisible. The steppe was now at the peak of the rainy season. The grass was thick, frogs and insects chirped every night. Nature was full of life, and it was also the time when danger was more present than ever. Kaya knew well, just one mistake, one exposed trace, and the enemy could come. And in her belly, the tiny fetuses were waiting to open their eyes to be born. The time of change was coming, not just for Kaya, but for an entire generation. The morning sun filtered through the leaves, spreading gold on the ground still damp after days of rain. In a hidden corner under the dense bushes, Kaya lay curled up, her body tightly embracing the tiny newborn creatures. They were only the size of a human fist, their thin fur dotted with pale spots, their eyes not yet open, moving slightly in their weak breaths. Kaya licked each one, slowly and carefully, as if touching the most precious thing in the world. Her mother's heartbeat was trembling in the first sacred moment. The leopard nest was peaceful in the gentle sunlight. But out there, the steppe was still a harsh arena. And Kaya, though exhausted, had officially entered her new role: protector, guide, and the only hope of survival for the three tiny creatures. In the early days, Kaya hardly left the nest. She hunted quickly, neatly, and returned just before the sun rose high. The children grew, eyes wide, slender legs beginning to walk, tottering through the thick grass, always in sight of their mother. When they were strong enough to follow, Kaya began to lead them out of the shade. It was no longer playtime. It was time to learn how to live. Kaya crouched quietly in the grass, her eyes on a group of prey grazing nearby. The children watched, ears perked up, feet lifted and put down clumsily. Kayla rushes out to demonstrate. The prey runs. The chase ends. She brings back a young prey, alive but exhausted. She drops it in front of her three children, then steps back. No instructions. Just a cold gaze and a meaningful silence. The children are confused. Kaya stands still. No intervention, no praise. This is the first lesson in life. Hunting is instinct, but to survive, they must master it. When they are young, every step the cubs take is like gambling with fate. With their small bodies, the smell of colostrum still on their fur, they become easy targets for countless predators: hyenas, eagles, even snakes and lions. At the slightest strange noise, Kaya immediately turns her head, ears erect, body tense as a bowstring. She never sleeps deeply. She only closes her eyes for short periods. Every time the child cries softly, she wakes up with a start. When hunting, Kaya always took a detour, avoiding the trail leading back to the nest. The grass tilted, the wind changed direction, an unusual streak of bird droppings. All could be signs of someone lurking. Kaya was always ready to fight, despite her body being thin from hunger and exhaustion after giving birth. Because in this world, if she was not careful, the whole litter could disappear without a trace. Late afternoon. The last rays of sunlight dyed the ground golden. Kaya's children were playing around their mother. Kaya stood there, ears pricked, eyes fixed on the grass in the distance. Then she heard it. A heavy footstep. Slow. Confident. Not a gazelle. Not a hyena. A lion, the most dangerous enemy of the young cubs. A male lion was approaching, his large head shaking gently in the sunlight, his golden eyes darting around. He didn't need to hunt, he just needed to eliminate any future generations of predators that might compete. Kaya knew she was no match, but she did not run away. She rushed out, darting across the lion's face, growling softly, her tail erect, her feet stomping the ground. A provocative move. She deliberately wanted to attract its attention, to lead it in another direction. The lion hissed, changed direction. Kaya ran, looking back, choosing a zigzag path through the tall grass, the trees. A breathless chase, not for food, but for the lives of the three little creatures huddled in the nest. After a few minutes, the lion got bored and left. Kaya turned around, quietly returning to the nest. The cubs were still lying there, unaware that they had just escaped the jaws of death. She lay down, breathing heavily, her eyes still open. And as always, no one witnessed, no glory, only a mother's instinct. On the step where life is always challenged by death, Kaya is not the strongest nor the fastest. But she is the embodiment of perseverance, of maternal instinct, of the spirit of not giving up. No need for roar. No need for glory. Just by silence, Kaya protects the most important thing, life. If Kaya's story touches you, don't forget to leave a comment, share your thoughts on this journey. Click subscribe to the channel to join us in discovering more extraordinary creatures across the wild planet. A small share is a big voice for nature.